Okay, so recording for Wildflowers team call. It is December 27th. And this is really about digging deep and getting authentic and vulnerable and really leading with your heart to avoid just kind of running through the motions. Um, I like calls where there's a lot of action steps to kind of follow so that we're not just kind of becoming like absorbers of information without those actual action steps. So I'm glad that you guys are here and I see pens ready to go because I'm going to ask you guys to kind of write some stuff down too as we go. And of course, if you have anything or you want to interject, I welcome that as well. So just type into the chat or anything like that, and we can lead it as a discussion too if you need to be. Okay, so right now what I want you guys to do is write down what your big, hairy, scary, freak you out goal is for your overall big picture. Like, not for the year, not for the new year, not for, what would make your life the like epitome of your passion to live, and like what have you always dreamed of? Write that down. It can be either in the business, it can be your life, it can be your fitness, it can be work, any of those things. Write it down, because if we're not writing it down, then it's not a goal and it's only a wish. So now that you have that written down, you can post it somewhere where you see it every single day. Okay, it's going to be smacking you in the face. Now, the key to attaining that goal really comes down to the basics. And I wrote down here that personal development has to come first, because that is going to be the root of your entire journey in your growth process. We're all drawn into this process because we were missing something. We wanted to lose weight, or we were feeling blah, or we were feeling lost, mentally anxious, depression, any of those things. Like, we were drawn into this because we wanted some sort of change. So you'll hear time and time and time and time and time and time again, and on all these videos, coach calls, national wake up calls, everything, they all say your personal development comes first. And it, because of that reason, whatever you were brought into this for to change, whatever that change is for you, you need to focus your personal development at that. So you need to, kind of really figure out what that was that brought you into this. So was it that you were looking for confidence? Was it that you were looking, some of us, it was weight loss. So with the weight loss journey, confidence will build with that. A lot of times we get kind of drawn into a personal development book of marketing. How do I do marketing? How do I do social media? How can I become a better leader, when we're not focusing on leading ourselves first? And a lot of times we kind of avoid that. And a lot of times I'll hear, and I'll do it myself too. I'll say, well, I'm already listening to the calls. I'm already reaching out. I'm already forming. I'm already reading my personal development. It's like, okay, well, are you reading the right personal development for you? And a lot of times we will often avoid what we really, really, really need because it's uncomfortable. And that's the vulnerable part of the journey. Not necessarily in, you need to share your deepest, darkest secret on social media, but you need to find within yourself what makes you vulnerable, because then you can kind of bring yourself to that edge of growth and challenge beyond it. So I marked here, lead yourself before we can even lead others. We need to find who we are. If you know who you are, if you know who you're kind of working to be, and if you don't have an identity crisis or anything like that, like, if you know who you are, if you know who your, I guess we can kind of link it to a marketing term of, you know what your brand is, you know what your passion is, you know what really lights your fire, then those are the people that you're going to connect with. So write down a list of who you are. I know you are, Ashley. Write down who you are, like your interests. So if you didn't have to go to work every single day, because a lot of times we get pulled into this because, work is this or work is that. Like, we have our own identity outside of work. We have our own identity outside of being a mom. We have our own identity outside of being a wife, all of those things. What really excites you? Again, your passion, and make a list of all of those things. And those are going to be people that you're going to be speaking to in your social media as well. So again, that is who you're speaking to. So then from that, how do we build that into an authentic post so that we're not just kind of speaking to, sometimes things can come off as, not as heartfelt because we're trying to craft a post just for the sake of a post. And if you can write down what your story is, and you don't have to do all of this right this second, but write down, make a note to write out your story. What is your story that you're constantly telling yourself? These are things that maybe we aren't, but we tell ourselves. So like for me, I tell myself, I'm constantly busy. I have a good job, so I don't necessarily need an additional income. I'm always going to be living in an apartment because my student debt is so high, and I'm going to be wrapped up in all of this stuff. Like, what is your story that continues on and on and on and on within your head? And those little points within that are going to be people that are going to connect to you as well. So again, those are the people that you're speaking to as well. Those are the people that are going to identify with your story and may want a change from that, just like you did. So develop what your story is. What do you tell yourself? What has brought you to that point where you needed a change? So you can also write down all of your past, say, downfalls. What have been your biggest challenges in life? What has been your saddest points in life? What have been, things that you really, really struggled through? And write all those down as well. And then you can write down the opposite of that. What have been like really, really happy, exciting times? What have been, things that make you excited, weddings, babies, all of those things. So both of these ends of the spectrum are going to elicit an emotion within you. And when we're sharing on social media, that's what's going to draw people into you, is that emotional piece. What do you feel when you read that? Like, there's been times where I've read certain posts and I've teared up. Or if I'm watching a commercial or if I'm watching a movie, any of those things, like, if you get emotional in a movie, it's because it's connecting with something inside of you. Like, I guess a good example of that is whenever I watch Black Hawk Down or any of these crazy military movies, I take myself to that circumstance and then I connect it with oh my God, Dennis was in the military. what if this was him, or all of our veterans that I've treated previously, those veterans, this was them, this is what they experienced. They experienced this heartache, they experienced, physical wounds, they experienced emotional wounds, they experienced that their, potentially their wives have left them, or they're missing the birth of their child. Like, these are all the emotions that are like going through me when I'm watching these movies, and that's what makes me cry. And those are the emotions that we need to elicit in other people of our journey. And of course, you don't have to fabricate anything. You don't have to dramatize anything. But if there are these points in your life that, you felt emotions, and it might even just be as simple as, oh, I'm so stressed at work, and I'm so, to the point where I am about to snap and want to freak out on somebody. And it's brought you to tears of frustration. Those are things that other people are going to relate to. So you have to find a way to express how you speak and express that to people, because I'm sure there's thousands of other people that identify with that as well. And then let's see, what else did I put? So basically, yes, I put that's what you share when you connect with others. So that's going to bring in the emotion to other people, and then the magic happens on the other side of it. So when we're interacting and engaging in private conversations, if you're doing all of this work on yourself, you're going to have experience, I guess, in how you've walked through the fire. And there's going to be people that have gotten to the point where they just don't know what to do. What they've been doing this entire time is no longer working. Just like we got to the point where, okay, I've tried this. My way is just not working. Let me try your way. And when we're talking to people, we're asking them questions to see what it is that they're struggling with. And a lot of times it's very similar to what we are struggling with or what we have struggled with. So it's kind of brings you back to, that's why it's important for us to be doing the personal development reading, be listening to the podcast, so that you have these options to give them. And that just kind of, that builds the relationship between you, because it's not, oh, I have an exercise program and that's going to cure your anxiety, that's going to cure your mental emotional stress with your husband and this and that. It's building that friendship with them so that they trust you then. And then you offer them these, I guess, in a sense, free tips, because, oh, I listened to this podcast and it was talking about this, and it actually even reminded me of you, because you had told me that you were a stepmom too, and you struggle with the fact that the other mom doesn't want you to do certain things or this or that. And it's like, oh, well, I was reading this blog post about a mom that was doing this and this and all these things, and it just kind of brought me back to, oh, like, I need to do this or this. Like, does that make sense? So you have these tips and things that you can share about what's helped you, and that builds the trust, and that builds the relationship and makes these connections even deeper than just, like I said, straight up, I have a workout program that will help you. You lead with what your struggle was, how you overcame it, and that's going to make you the connection where you are. But you can only do that, and you can only find those people if you're sharing vulnerably and you're being authentic in it. Does that make sense? So it's a scary process to really dig deep into, what makes you feel uncomfortable and what makes you feel, challenged. And a lot of times, just because of our own psychological way that we're made up, we're going to avoid even trying to identify those certain things within ourselves, because we don't want to admit even to ourselves that, okay, maybe I'm self-conscious, maybe I have anxiety, maybe I am worried about what people are going to think or do or say, or maybe I just don't feel worthy, maybe, and any of those feelings that come up, if it's, really dig deep and find out, like, what were the instances that started that? Like, was it from childhood? Was it from college? Was it from, any number of things? What were these instances in your life that kind of started you down that path that kind of led you away from your true, authentic, genuine self? Because a lot of times, I mean, I know personally I hide certain things, or I don't share everything, or I don't, sometimes I'm not 100% open book with my feelings and how things, make me feel. And, that puts up a wall. So what we ourselves are actually craving, or what's going to make us grow, we're shielding ourselves from, just because we're human. But now we have the tools to kind of dig deeper, and that's where we're going to make the bigger connections and find our true friends and the people that are really going to support us through this whole journey and lift us up as well. So that's all I have. I hope you guys felt like we got kind of deep with that. Any questions, comments? Did you think that was helpful? Yeah. Any questions? No? Ready to get back to your Tuesday night? I'm on vacation, officially. All right. Sorry, Ashley. You can be on vacation too. Ashley's mic doesn't work. All right. Do you have a question? Did you want to type anything into the... It's going to be deep, I know. Not really. I know this is an area I really need to work on. All of us really need to work on this area. And that's why when I was discussing with Kelly, kind of what I felt like we needed as a team, oftentimes what we as leaders struggle with is what we're also attracting as well. So our teammates, our coaches underneath us, our challengers underneath us are going to not only have the same interests, but also have the same struggles as well. So like if I struggle with communication and being vulnerable and sharing and all of those things, I'm going to kind of through the universe attract those people as well. So we need to be mindful of that and really focus our personal development into that area. So for me, it's not only, reading a book on, say, leadership, but I also at the same time need to be reading a book on, like, who am I, like soul searching, like those types of things, because then I can share those things as well. And that's going to only help my team, help our big group team as well, and help me grow, because I'm going to be pushing against what the resistance is within me to grow. Worry about coming off like a sales pitch. This was a great one. Yep. It's just doing the work to be vulnerable and leading with, we're ultimately searching for people that are like us and looking for a friend and people that are going to go through this journey with us. Because a lot of times I think, okay, well, can I make a sale? Yes. But I'm going to have to work with these people for as long as they need it, they want it. And if it's not somebody that I would enjoy conversation with or to be a friend with, then then maybe that's not the person for me to help or for them to help me. Or sometimes people come into your life for weird, crazy reasons, but we can also be, hi Sarah, we can also be kind of selective in who we're choosing to connect with as well. And I know in the beginning as new coaches, that's difficult because, you know, we are running it as a business, but ultimately in the long run, your business will be built on a better foundation if you are a little bit more selective in building the relationship and identifying the people that you connect with. It's just going to make it so much easier to build with. Makes sense? Yeah. All right. Sorry, Sarah, you hopped on at the tail end there. We're actually finishing up. I did record it, so I will upload it to YouTube, and then I will post it in the team page. So any burning questions? Yeah? No? Okay. All right, go enjoy your families. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, and we'll see you in the team page.